Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and today I'm really excited as I once again have Northern Rides joining the channel. For some reason, I almost said Northern Lights. I don't know why, but welcome to the channel, Northern Rides. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I can't believe I almost said Northern Lights. I don't know what I'm thinking about there, but
I mean, part of the inspiration for the name was actually the Northern Lights, so it sounds similar as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, today we're looking at a park that, as some of you might see, has definitely got some Disney vibes to it. And this park is called Willow Park Resort. It's created by Disney underscore Doody, so Doode. I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff, so I probably mispronounced that. So I apologize. The description says, my first creation on here. This park has 3 lands. The main rides feature in a dark ride experiences and a couple coasters. Hope you enjoy. So right away, I was blown away when I saw this. Like, there are some blueprints used for like buildings and stuff, but overall, it's like this is a first park. I'm just blown away.
Yeah, same. Already, all the greenery and the plants is so, I guess, fulfilled. There's no dead spots or anything. That's what I had trouble with when I tried to make parks. It's so detailed everywhere.
Right, and like you said, the foliage. I mean, just mixing the different trees together. I feel like foliage is so tough to do to make it look natural in the game and not forced, because we're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
given 50 different types of trees like Planet Zoo is, right? Like there's a certain amount that you can use with certain vibes you're trying to go for, and just the way this is put together, mixing palm trees with all the other ones is just done so well.
Yeah, it looks completely realistic with everything so far. I mean, I could see this in real life, and I could never do this. So, for a first park, this is a very good job already. I mean, we haven't really seen any rides either, aside from the pirate ship.
And so there's one of the dark rides that's modeled after like an Indiana Jones style. So we'll get to that one last, but I wanted to head this way first because right when you get past this tree, which I almost feel like that tree is kind of blocking some of the view. But how about, like, obviously, what does that make you think of?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the tree, but obviously, I'm thinking, Splash Mountain when I'm looking at that log flume. Um, I mean, Splash Mountain looks like an epic log flume in real life, and if this is kind of Disney-like as well, this place, you gotta have it.
Oh, for sure. And so the one major coaster in the park is an RMC, which I'm an RMC guy, so I love me a good RMC. Um,
Same.
and yeah, you said same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with you being from, you said Denmark, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, what's your favorite style of coaster as we kind of are walking around the park a little bit? Your
Well,
favorite model?
my favorite model probably is either the RMC iBox hybrid or like the one we're seeing now, just because of what you can do with it, because
Mhm.
it's so insane what you can. Either that or maybe the Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, just
Okay.
because you have infinite choices with what you can do with that model. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's like the Smiler at Alton Towers or Monster
Right.
at Adventureland.
Yeah, I've been on one of those in real life, so I haven't gotten to experience them a lot. But I know over in Europe, they're like everywhere.
Yeah,
um,
there's just a ton.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, the beauty of this spot, like everything's done so well, and the layout of the park's really great. Um, Now this is, I couldn't quite see the name, but now as we're kind of looking at the queue, um, this looks
It was a
really,
popular ride.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I guess only a couple coasters in the park. They gotta be popular.
True.
um, Yeah, and so this is one where I think in terms of the station, kind of utilizing some sort of cross beams or something just to kind of create the not be able to see those kind of overhang wall pieces. That just kind of comes with um, playing the game more and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll take a ride on this RMC and we'll talk to you afterwards. So that was the RMC, which, as I said, I forgot to get the name of it before. But what are your overall thoughts?
I thought it was a really cool layout. A bit of a shame with the mid-course brake run, since it's not a longer layout. But it's a Disney park, so capacity's king. But one thing I really, took notice in was the terrain. The terrain is so well made on this coaster. All the rocks look so great. It's like Big Thunder Mountain, but so much better. It looks amazing.
Totally agree. And with this being like the first coaster that this creator's made in a park, like, I mean, it's a great start. Like, it's not perfect. There's definitely some banking things and stuff like that. And like you said, how the big course brake run runs, and then you've got the lift hill at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
this game's got such a massive learning curve, especially with creating coasters and all that stuff, to where it's like, man, if that's your first like true coaster in a park, I'm excited to see what this creator is able to work with next.
Yeah, because I mean, it was still a really good coaster overall. I think. I thought that was really good for the first. Absolutely.
Now, I want to correct something I said earlier, because I thought about it, because I know you asked the question where on the coaster, and one Gerstlauer I've been on actually wasn't an Infinity coaster. I was getting that model confused with the their other main model they have, but it's the one at Six Flags Over Georgia that's 3 rows per car.
Daredevil Dive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to forget the true name of that, which I always get those confused, because I don't really build them too much in the game. So I always I know the Infinity one, but I'm trying to remember the name of the other one. The Eurofighter, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually ridden a coaster that's pretty much exactly the same as the one you've ridden, just instead of a lift hill and a drop, it has a launch and a top hat, which is a Anubis at Plopsaland in Belgium. The layout is exactly the same apart from the launch.
Okay.
And it's a really good ride.
Yeah, it was really fun. I gotta say, man, those going up a lift hill straight up is just legit terrifying, because you feel like you're leaning back, and so I can only imagine how terrifying Swarstay Karnen must be, if I said that right.
Oh yeah, yeah, Karanon's lift hill. I mean, it's a hyper lift hill with lap bars. That is a terrifying lift hill. You're not wrong about that.
Yeah. So one thing that I really noticed about this ride, and about the RMC as well, is just how well done the cues are to make them kind of feel sectioned off. And so like this one, you really kind of went around these rocks and stuff, and just a really, really cool environment that he's placed this ride in.
Yeah, I agree that it's very good at this, not completely open. You feel like you're in another world. You're immersed instead. And already I'm loving all this detail here with the rocks. It's like little scenes here and there.
And what I love about it is you can tell it's clearly inspired by Space Mountain, yet it's not Space Mountain. Like, it's his own, or the creator's own take on this, and kind of storyline to it. I can't imagine the tediousness that must have been, if that's even a word, to have all these rocks and have to place them all like this. Pretty insane.
Yeah, I was definitely not very patient with, details like this when I play Planet Coaster. I was much more in just making the coasters, so I say kudos to anyone who puts their time into the details like this. It's amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's one thing that's just great about this game, right, is there's so many different aspects to it. Like, No Limits 2, I'm loving kind of getting started playing that, right? So much of it's about, like, the coaster building, right? There's this, You could be a coaster, you could just build individual coasters, you could love doing scenery, flat rides, dark rides, like there's so much that goes into it. So it's really always cool to see where people excel at,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, and then...
This is so cool right here, by the way. This reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean all of a sudden. Even though it's, a Western theme, but that's aside the point.
Yeah, it's a Cowboys style. Yeah, really, really cool. And the lighting is done so perfect, where you only see what they want you to see, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And you got the danger sign. And so I really wonder when, the creator made this, like, I guess it had to be you make the layout first, and then you put the rocks and everything around it. That is just so well done. As we get here to what I'm guessing is the big drop out of the mountain.
Yeah, probably. Oh, yep. Definitely. That's gonna be scary when it's then suddenly that open, after being enclosed like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Now, have you been to the Disneyland in Paris?
Yeah, I actually visited for the first time in July. That is an amazing place. They unfortunately don't have a lock flume like Splash Mountain, but I would love to experience that one day. But it's an amazing place.
Yeah, it looks really cool. So it's really kind of cool too to see the Disney parks in different areas. Kind of what's the same, what have they kind of copied, and kind of what's different. Um,
Yeah,
so it's definitely be a cool place to go in France someday.
yeah, and I agree. It is cool to see what they make similar or what they don't. Like Space Mountain in the Disneyland parks in the U.S. are more like, they're much different types of coasters than the Space Mountain in Paris. Because in the U.S. there are more family coasters type
Hmm.
rides, but in Paris it has inversions, and it's more like rock and roller coaster.
Okay.
Even though they already have a rock and roller coaster, so that's a difference, for example. But they still have like Big Thunder Mountain and the Castle and Pirates of the Caribbean and so on.
That's really cool. And so I was trying to go through and just kind of allow us to kind of see the layout again. Um, and as I'm watching this back, I'm like, what am I doing with the camera?
Yeah,
um,
right through the sign and
yeah, right
everything.
through the side. But no, this is like you said. I think this part was so well done, and obviously it's a little
Yeah,
bit more of you don't want to necessarily say a grown-up theme because obviously you have Western themed stuff for kids as well. But it's not as like childish in a sense as the Splash Mountain is with Brer Rabbit and everything. So I think it's a cool take on this creator. Obviously loves Disney, so taking something that this person loves and implementing it this way in the game.
yeah, and they did an excellent job too.
And one thing I love seeing too is if you see it from this view, you kind of see the back of the building, the warehouse area. But obviously, no guest is ever going to see that. It's kind of like if you go to like if you get on Google Maps and you look at Animal Kingdom, it's like um, the the whole Avatar area. The front third is what's built up to the Avatar, and then the whole other two-thirds of the building is just a warehouse.
Oh yeah, I mean they're very good at hiding things like that for sure
Hmm.
at Disneyland. Had you been to the to both Disney Worlds in the U.S. or one of them
Yeah, I've
or?
been to the one and now I did go to Disneyland when I was really young, but I can't remember much about it.
Mm.
It's probably like fourth or fifth grade. I do remember riding the rides there, but been to Disney World a fair amount. Went back about a year and a half ago with my wife. So it's definitely a lot of fun. But I'm more on the thrill side, so I'd rather go to like true theme parks or true amusement parks. I guess would be the way to phrase it.
Yeah, I understand that. I was at Disneyland Paris with my sister as well, who's a young teenager, and I loved stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff, and she thought it was she thought it was impressive, but a little boring. She would rather go on, Rock and Roller Coaster and so on, because it's more crazy, which I totally get. So
Hmm.
theming isn't, mind blowing for everyone.
Yeah. No, I mean I do love the theming. It's one of those. It's like with how expensive Disney is. It's like I could, from where I'm at, I could, take the 7 hour drive to Kings Island and pay $50 for a ticket and $100 to stay in a hotel for a night and be good with it.
Oh,
um,
yeah, I mean, I would love to do that as well.
yeah, that's definitely my favorite park. But now we're kind of in the
Awesome.
third of the fourth. Wow, I can't speak. We're in the third kind of area of the park, and once again, just a really good queue. Just kind
Yeah,
of
this is
integrating,
amazing.
making it feel separate from the rest of the park.
Yeah, is this pardon my ignorance if I'm wrong, but is this like an Aladdin theme, maybe, or
Maybe,
something like that?
yeah, maybe probably trying to take some of that maybe Arabian style theme for sure. Um,
Yeah,
and so I've honestly never been on one of these coasters in real life. Have you?
yeah. I've been on 5 water coasters, I think, all of them by Mack rides, and they're very fun. They're good family coasters.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask if they're fun because um, I'm honestly one that I usually stay away from the water rides because I don't like. I mean, I don't mind getting wet, but it's like the water's always so nasty.
Oh
And then
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'd rather not smell like moldy water the rest of the time I'm at the park. So,
Yeah, I understand that. it's not the cleanest water for the most part. I personally don't really care too much, honestly, because I'm running around sweating anyway.
Yeah,
So I'm
agreed.
one of those people who love getting as wet as possible. But I think most people are on your side, though.
Yep. But this is really well done. Is I love how it's been sunk into the water, where you can't really
Yeah,
see too much. Like you can't see the bottom of the track, which is what I think is really cool.
yeah, I couldn't do that when I played. I didn't know how to. So this is really awesome. It's like it's sailing in the lake itself, and I love how the building with the drop as well looks kind of mighty. Kind of imposing from this angle. Really nice.
Yeah, totally agree. And it feels so peaceful. Like once again, the amazing use of foliage. If you just open up this park, I would not think that this is this creator's first park. Um, 'Cause
Oh yeah, I almost forgot it
everything's
was
so
their
well
first
done.
park.
I know, right? Like that
You,
shows you how
yeah,
well done it's been. It is.
yeah, you really wouldn't know from opening it up.
Hmm. I will say, like the second half of this ride, that's like the more coaster type. I think this was done on the PS4, and there's still like 4 or 5% to work with on the PS4. So maybe there's just I think maybe the creator felt like it couldn't really do couldn't finish what he maybe wanted to fully finish. So it's not really themed in the back area, but I mean I love that right there, like the smoke and how dark it is. Like it really um,
Yeah,
kind of gives it a scary feel.
yeah, same. It's really really good.
Hmm.
It's a, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame you couldn't theme the final part and the back part here, because I mean this is completely bare. But
Yeah.
aside from this, everything else is so well made. And
Hmm.
if his PS4 couldn't handle the rest, then that's understandable.
Yeah. Well, I think my suggestion would be, and so one thing is like the consoles, like they handle stuff really well. Um, but I would just put like a lot of trees back there, um, even just to
Yeah,
kind of like
same.
section it off and make it look like the park was surrounded by like trees in a way. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. That was really really well done.
Yeah, I agree. It was completely beautiful, and like you said, it was peaceful and detailed as always. Apart from the back section, but everything else was so good.
Hmm. And the water, I think the water he used was the kind of like muddy water a little bit, or maybe it's just the terrain, but it just has a cool look of it. Um, Obviously, not looking like the best overall water, but looking like this place was like dug out intentionally. Um, I don't know. I'm not really making sense what I'm
Yeah.
saying, but to me, it looks cool.
No, I agree with you. I think it fits the theme a little better as well. It is more like water you'd actually find in a desert, I think. So I think it was probably intentional in that way.
Hmm. Yeah. So we have one last area, and I'll be honest, I did not even know this was here until I accidentally went down a path where I was like, "Oh, where does this lead to?" It ended up being the exit path of this space. But so then I said, "Oh, I got to make sure and walk around there." But one thing that I just love about this game is being able to zoom in like that. It's weird that when you're in this flip cam mode and you zoom in with that camera, like it just creates like a what looks like a higher definition picture. So it's really cool to like zoom in and see stuff.
Mm. Look at that lamp as well in the door. I like that lamp.
It gives off
It's a
a really
weird thing to
unique,
point out, but
yeah, it gives off a really unique color, which is cool to see. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and so got some buildings there on the right. Um, I guess I'm just waiting for the flow of the guests to kind of get moving. And I like how this person's put a lot of those entertainers throughout the park, which kind of really gives it more of that Disney feel as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, because they're everywhere at Disneyland.
Hmm. Yeah, and so real quick before we get to this other area with Disneyland Paris, like I'm not as knowledgeable about it. Um, I know, like obviously, I knew Space Mountain was different. I know they got Thunder Mountain Railroad, which a lot of people say is one of the better ones there in terms of like the different Thunder Mountain rides. Um, do they have multiple parks, or is it just one larger park?
They have two parks. They have the big one just called Park Disneyland, which is the one with the castle and Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain Railroad, and so on. And then they have the smaller Walt Disney Studios, which is more about movies. That's where they have the Marvel's Avengers area, and they have a Pixar area. And then I think they're making an expansion with like a Frozen area now, but that wasn't open when I went. So it's a very small park, the second one.
It's more like Hollywood Studios, just not quite to that size or scale.
Yeah, probably. But it's very nice detail still. That's also where you'll find Tower of Terror and so on.
Okay. Really cool. And I mean, what do you think about this queue?
Once again, really reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean with that queue, because it's so enclosed and so detailed and kind of dark with the flames and everything. The scaffolding as well. Wow, I'm actually like really impressed right now.
I know.
Oh
like,
wait, it's a trackless dark ride. I didn't know. Damn.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of models that Indiana Jones style. So really, really kind of cool to see. Yeah, we can chat throughout this when we notice something, because there's so much to look at. Like right away, the color changes, the way that this ride kind of shifts back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to even look at just in that first section.
Yeah, everything's so golden as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of a good.
That was a bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, this is amazing, dude. I'm not sure if I've seen a much better dark ride in Planet Coaster before.
Wow, my voice just cracked there. This is so well done. And this is really cool. Like, this is something that I've yet to try to do, because this, to me, seems like such a daunting ride to make. Because of all the theming that goes into it, all the planning, and just really, really cool and well done.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how you make this so good, actually. I imagine you put the roof on as the last thing, you know, so you can look down and look at how you add all the other things, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just kind of speechless about how well this is made, honestly.
Yeah, this is so well done, and there's so many parts that we've seen that we only glance for like a second or two. So it's like absolutely everything in this ride has to be detailed. What's really cool here is you can see some dark spaces. They're just completely black, where you can tell like there's a wall or something behind there, but you can't see it. So the lighting is done so well. And since this entire...
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things to do as well.
Yeah, agreed. Now, actually, I just realized I forgot about this, but this ride's actually created underground. Because
Damn.
Yeah, if we create stuff above ground, it's hard to get it pitch black like this. So by creating underground, it totally prevents any light from coming in, especially at the nighttime. So it just gives you a better opportunity. So I wonder if how this person was able to kind of, I guess it was built so far underground that they just made a layer of terrain on the top, maybe. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, that's probably how they did it, if I were to guess. But I wouldn't know, because I never did that, tried that hard to do lighting like this. I mean, it's so impressive. And, I mean, it's definitely the most well-themed ride I've ever seen in Planet Coaster, hands down.
Yeah, this is just absolutely insane. So now we're back to the station. And, I mean, we've just talked about that the whole time, but that to me is one of the best dark rides I've seen as well. Just so well done.
Yeah, same. It is the most well-themed ride I've ever seen in this game. It was completely mind-blowing, and it was hard to put words on because it was so well made. I don't know how they did that. Really, really well done.
Yeah, so we got about 2 minutes left because we're going to look at some fireworks in a second. As you can see, the fireworks display out here. But what are your overall thoughts of the park?
Again, you got to remember this is the guy's first park, and because that just makes it even more mind-blowing than it already is. Because even if this guy had made like 50 parks, I would still be impressed. This place is really well done. It's The rides are so detailed. The pathways are so nice. The fireworks here are also really beautiful, by the way. And I was kind of speechless throughout some of the things. It's definitely like a quality over quantity park. This, and the quality is so high.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. Because I think I'm trying to count in my head. I know there are 4 main rides. Then I think there may have just been about 4 flat rides as well. Maybe up to 6. So keeping the ride number down, but as you said, quality over quantity, which is
Yeah.
sometimes I gotta learn that because I want to have as many coasters in the park as possible. But we gotta quality over quantity matters in the game, especially when we've got a build limit or quality over quantity. I misspoke. Does matter, and really good job with the fireworks here.
Yeah, I agree. I never got to see the fireworks in Disneyland actually, but I want to do that one day because
Yeah.
I know how amazing it can be as well.
Yeah, there's a really cool like laser and fireworks show at Kings Island, but I didn't really care to watch it this year because I wanted to get in line for the Beast to have the last ride of the night on the Beast, so I didn't get a great
Oh, I
view
would
of
choose
it.
that as well.
So that was what I chose. But we just got about 30 seconds. So any closing thoughts?
None other than huge congratulations on building such an incredible park, my dude. I'm sorry I forgot who built it, but but really, really well done.
Yeah, totally agree. I like that same I do. That's a good way to phrase it. But thank you so much, Northern Rise, for joining me. Everybody make sure to go check out his YouTube channel. Amazing No Limits content on there. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.